my idea is that the mold got some cracks in it, but it's not really broken, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not coming up and like I'm not coming up talking about murdering people, robbing stuff like that, hitting licks. That's not my lifestyle. That's not what I do, and I don't want to tell other people to do that either. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking about a whole different thing. I'm talking about like experiencing life to the fullest, making money, and just focusing on yourself. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And getting into fashion. So I'm looking at these guys like, okay, well I see what they went right. I see what they went wrong. Mm-hmm. And now I'm trying to combine the two and just go as far as I possibly can. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the MANGA Mentality Podcast. I'm your host, King Akh, and here we have my co-host,
Shimon J. You can follow me on Instagram at Shimon.J.
And our guest host,
Tugger. You can find me on Instagram at I am Tugger.
Great. Let's get into it.
Okay, so when it comes to rest in peace, XXX Tentacion, can he be someone that's in that top spot? We know Kanye is number one,
right? But
can he be in that top spot when it comes to manga rap?
Definitely. I definitely think so. Because when you compare him to his classmates, he was the most direct and he had the biggest influence of all the guys that he was coming up with on the music scene. Like, you have Lil Uzi and Denzel Curry and all those people, but although they had a lot of influence and they were definitely anime fans almost just as much as he was, if not more, they didn't have the reach that he had. They didn't have the influence that he had. And so we were able to see more of him with the same level of effort than what it take to see more of Lil Uzi and more Denzel Curry and more Ski Mask, because they were there, they were dropping music, but it would take more. You have to go further to see what they really had in store. With X, it was like you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
You can't escape that.
So, okay, so we know that he used it for like his music and his videos and among his class. Right? But when we look at Kanye,
right,
do you feel like it's possible that he was inspired by it? Because, you know, Kanye has been doing this for decades.
Right.
Yeah, so is it a possibility that, you know, he channeled Kanye when it comes to the manga and infusing it with his artistry?
You know, it's actually the first time I've been asked this question. Mm-hmm. And I think about it, I think that he was. Because you could look at Kanye and say, I feel better about what I'm doing now because I see him doing it. Mm. I definitely could see that being a reason. So yeah, I think he was influenced by Kanye, because even though they were different, like Kanye was saying that he never really felt like he fit in with like the gangster stereotype or the architect. Like, he felt like he was kind of his own person, and that's where he was getting these different ideas from. X was more closer to that archetype, but he wasn't like fully involved with it. He still had that connection with what Kanye was talking about with the anime and stuff like that. So I do think that he could influence like Kanye to go further into what he was doing. And that could have been one of the reasons why anime was such was on the forefront of what he was doing, and not what it could have been, which is which is what a lot of other rappers are doing, which is putting violence on the forefront.
Okay, so when you say that he was closer to the archetype of a rapper that's like hard and like gangster, so like what makes X closer to that? What you said that he was similar, like in what way do you feel like he was closer to that then? Because we know Kanye struggled with it. He was like a fashion guy, and that wasn't like a thing until he made it a thing. Was not a thing back now. Almost every rapper is like, you know, I can dress and all this and that. Yeah. But what makes X closer to that image that people think rappers should be, like a gangster?
I mean, it was his upbringing. Mm-hmm. It was definitely his upbringing. It was rough. I mean, he was single. It was just him and his mom. Low income neighborhood, getting into fights and stuff like that. He was in juvie a couple of times, just stuff like that. I'm not going to like great detail about it, but it was he fit basically. He could have fit the mold easier. He didn't have to do what he did, but like you said, he could have been influenced and went that route.
Okay.
Yeah, and then let me say this: it's just like when Kanye, you know, like when he first started coming out, you saw a lot in his graphics. Like, you looked at X and you saw it, like, in his face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you saw the tats, you saw the dreads, like, to one side, the dark, you know, the contrast and stuff. So it's just, like, I feel like he really, like, was, like, you could see those moments, just like you said, just, like, when you coming up in the home, single mother, and then, like, being an artist, you find that dang, this is my only outlet, and it's just like it's just like more of a raw form, you know what I'm saying? Versus an artist, you know, who like comes in like, you know, maybe your upbringing wasn't as, you know, but you could just tell. Look at X is like, dang, like you could, you know, see
you
him.
could see it.
Yeah, like you could see it, like
Yeah.
Literally could see it on his face.
yeah, and like it wasn't like no, oh, I gotta get into this character or get into this manga mentality. It was just like, you know what I'm saying, just manga like.
But you know what? That's a good point. What I think is that's what makes it the most interesting about how X was able to really like get into the manga and the anime, because he could have went that route. He could have done what everybody else was doing.
Yeah, fast like
Yeah.
clean up,
Yeah.
go get some, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But nah, he stayed there for sure. And
Yeah.
then Kanye did do a lot, you know. I would just say, even though X, like, you know, rest in peace, his like time span in the industry wasn't as long as Kanye, you know, but we all know if he was still alive, like where he was headed. And, you know, Kanye just, you know, like he just had a longer, you know, career, but nah, X definitely, like you saw it, just like you said, like you saw it.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point that you're making with the time span, because if you think about the influence that he made in max 5 years,
Yeah.
if you want to count SoundCloud to his death, that's 5 years of how far he had come. That's and how many people that he had reached to. If he was given, if you gave him Kanye's time span, and then you gave X, if you gave X Kanye's time span and Kanye X's time span, we wouldn't even have this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Because it's not, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
It would not have been the same. Yeah. So it's just like the fact that we even talking about it right now tells you how far
The impact.
Yeah, how far he could have gone had he still been with us. But yeah. We go on about this for a while.
Yeah.
It's an interesting topic for sure.
Well, that's why I always think that artists like Kanye and artists like X are so impactful to the community, because they're changing the mold. They don't do what everybody else is doing. And like, so just like how we said X could have went that gangster route, Kanye could have put on airs and done the same thing. Like, and not wore his pink backpack with the polo and all of that. Like, it could have really easily been that.
Right.
But he decided to change things up.
Yeah, he could. They both could have given in.
Yeah.
And we would have been living a whole different life.
Exactly.
Based on how much they had contributed, we would be in whole different places.
Yeah.
Like imagine what the clothes would look like now if Kanye was like, you know what, I'm shooting, killing. That's about all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of speaks to me too, because like my idea is that the mold got some cracks in it, but it's not really broken, right? And I'm not coming up and like I'm not coming up talking about murdering people, robbing, stuff like that, hitting licks. That's not my lifestyle.
It's not your thing.
That's not what I do, and I don't want to tell other people to do that either. So what I'm talking about a whole different thing. I'm talking about like experiencing life to the fullest, making money, and just focusing on yourself. That's what I'm talking about. And getting into fashion. So I'm looking at these guys like, okay, well I see what they went right. I see what they went wrong, and now I'm trying to combine the two and just go as far as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like it's bittersweet, because I get a really, really good lesson, because we living in the same world, but that's as far as it goes. I still gotta act.
Yeah. I feel like they make rappers like you that's coming up like it's a doable thing. You don't have to talk about that if you don't live that. Like, you can talk about your life and things that you're interested in, and you'll find your tribe, or you'll find your people that really tap into that.
And just to piggyback on that, like you just said a key thing, like you don't have to rap about that. And another big anime fan is Snoop Dogg. You know, like he's very into the anime. Like, I've been having the chance to link in with him, you know, over the past couple of months. And, you know, just being around him, you kind of still get this little playful, you know, personality to where it's easy. And it's just like, he told me, like, when Tupac came out with the Machiavelli, he was writing about death. And, you know, after Snoop beat his murder case, he started rapping about life. You know what I'm saying? So that's big now in music. You kind of have to be careful about like what you put that pen to, for real. So you don't have to rap about that. So that's a great point, for real.
Yeah.
So that's why he was like, man, like that's why I feel like I'm still here today, because I chose to rap about life. You know what I'm saying? Like, after murder was the case, like I wrote about life. I was like, dang. He also told me he wrote the song "Murder Was the Case" before it actually happened.
Oh wow.
Like it was a couple months before it even actually happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you really got to be careful with it, bro.
Yeah.
It get that.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? That serious with this art. And then like if you listen to XX, you know, music around the time before he died, it was like very dark.
Same thing.
And you know, then like you go back and listen to it now, he was like, man, he was really in a dark place. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It just makes you think about, man, I gotta be careful before I hit the studio.
Definitely.
You gotta have that manga mentality.
Yeah.
You gotta watch. It's a mental thing.
And you know what's crazy? Let me say this. That's definitely the case. You look back and like, man, he was really in a dark place. And then you see like right before it happened, it was like he was kind of transitioning. He was getting into the helping hand program. He was doing these charity works. He was going. That's why he was in Florida. He was trying to orchestrate things to make the world a better place in the way that he thought that he could with his own power and his own influence and reach. Because he know he can get people to come out and do something for the community and helps people. But the idea was he put too much negativity out and it came back to him before he got the ability or the chance to put out what he was trying to put out was a positivity. And Snoop was given a gift, a blessing, really. He said, you know what? I'm gonna take this chance right now. Let me turn it around before it gets any worse than this.
You can be the Snoop of this situation.
Looks like
look,
I gotta
you saw how he did it. I'm gonna not do that.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna try this better way because he had a lot there going for him.
Right.
But it was just the negativity in the place that he was in for various numbers of reasons.
It came back.
Yeah,
to him.
exactly. It just came back for whatever circumstances.
Even though he made the choice.
Yeah.
You know, he made the choice, the conscious choice. Like, you know what? I'm gonna look to the light. And I'm gonna try to help people. I'm gonna try to do these positive things. It was too late.
Yeah.
Too little and too late. Even though he made the right choice, it was in the wrong time. And I think that one thing, like the challenge, what you're saying, like be careful what you're saying when you're in the booth, is that I have to talk the language still. Right? Do I just come out there saying like, oh, do the dishes and get your homework done? They're gonna turn it off. Right? They're gonna turn it off. So I gotta speak the language. But I gotta put the messages in there so that it's not just senseless violence and doing this and doing that. It's still positivity, but it's in a way that we can understand.
And that's true to you. That's essentially who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it can't be helpful gibberish. They're not gonna hear it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna listen to the full song. I'm gonna turn it off. Put on some G Herbo and
Yeah.
ride.
Exactly.
But you got Akh. You know, it's a fine line, but I gotta walk it.
Yeah.
And then by the time that my career is over and I'm doing different things, the line gonna be a road, and everybody can walk it, and then we get further that way.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. That's how I look at it.
I just feel like you know what I'm saying. I just know you gotta know what you're doing,
right?
Because life and death, I feel like, is in the power of the tongue. So just know, lock into your character, channel your character all you want to. Crazy. Just know what
people
are.
sleep on that.
That's crazy.
That is such a good point.
I read that for the first time today. Life and death, the power is both in the tongue. I just read it today.
In the Bible?
First time in the Bible. Yeah, I did not know that. Sure. I read that this morning.
Yeah,
and that's wild.
Because people sleep on it. Like people think that the way that they are is just like how random. Like, this is just because I'm like this. No, you always say you're this person. You say you're lazy. You say you don't get up in the morning. You say you don't eat well. You say you don't work out. So guess what? That's gonna be you.
Gonna be who you are.
But if
in your mind,
exactly, just decide not to.
And that's where manga mentality comes in.
Exactly.
Save yourself.
Exactly.
Yourself.
But that's a good point, though, man. You said that right before XX died, like he was really transitioning. Dang, that's crazy. You do see that, like, with a lot of people, even with, like, PNB, like, he even said, like, he was trying to, just change, bro.
Wait, what did he say?
I mean, just like in the clip on Instagram, like I saw, like in his interview, he was like just separating himself, you know what I'm saying, from different people. And, it's just crazy how you look back and it's like near death. It's like, dang, like some artists, it's just like sometimes it's just like too late, like,
too little, too
right
late.
Before you done so much. That's what I'm saying. Like
you gotta
in
watch
the tongue.
Yeah, we talked about this. I feel like that's a good point. Like things balance out. So you have to be very, very mindful about what you put out because you're going to get it back. So unless you're going to put good out to the same magnitude that you was doing the bad, you're going to get, it's going to get you every time.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Facts, man. Rest in peace, X, man. But
yeah.
he definitely, like, I'll give him a top. looking at his career,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, and how quickly it took off, definitely compete with Kanye.
Definitely. And, let me say this. I think it's kind of ironic because when people ask X what his favorite show was, he said Naruto. And when you look at what he was embodying in Naruto, you get Pain and Naruto. These are both characters, and they kind of parallel each other because Pain is saying, what I suffered, I want revenge for what I suffered, right? And Naruto is saying, I can't let you do that because you're taking revenge out on the people that I love. And so Pain is saying, what about who I love?
Mm-hmm.
They're gone, right? They suffered. I've lost those people, and you have your people who did that to my people. So why is it wrong for me to get my revenge, but it's right for you to stop me from getting my revenge?
Yeah.
And you took revenge on my people. And he was representing both those things at the same
It's
time.
cool when they
It's
do
cool
it.
when they do it.
It's a problem when I do it.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
exactly.
And then it's crazy because he's really embodying both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Because even the clothing brand, the brand he had was called Revenge. That was the whole name. I don't think he didn't get it on purpose.
Yeah.
But we see it.
Mm-hmm.
It all makes sense when you get to look at it from a second perspective. Because now you're like, oh, now I get it.
And that's the growth, right? That happens is like you have to be able to look at not only your life but people that were in similar situations and seeing how you can make a better outcome for yourself and your audience and other people.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all goes, like you said, it all goes full circle.
Exactly.
It's what you do when you do it. Because it's going to come back and bite you in the butt, or it could give you a big hug.
Yeah.
Some lemonade or something.
Exactly.
But it all depends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the worst thing about it is that people don't really have these conversations until after the person they're talking about is gone. They don't really talk about them when they're alive. Like, no one's talking about, there's thousands of artists alive right now doing something right at this very moment, and we're not talking about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like, it's not urgent. It's just like a need to talk about them. But if they were to, God forbid, any of them were to die, there'll be a whole conversation, a whole discussion. Oh, well, he did this or she did that. We're not talking about them while they're here. They're not been celebrated in life. And that's I think it's another reason that people really kind of act reckless because they know that if they die, they're definitely going to blow up if they die. Because that's the greatest sacrifice. And that's going to get them some attention for sure. Especially if they're struggling right now, that's going.
Yeah, because there's a lot of rappers that actually came forward saying that they have been in very dark places, like suicidal places, and like it'll be random things that brought them back to a more positive state,
Right.
And they're very grateful for it. But you'll be very surprised, like who's living in that space,
Right
and
now.
yeah, and they're not necessarily rapping about it, but they are still like accepting those things and. Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, I definitely say celebrate life.
Yeah.
For there's not like to celebrate.
Nah, facts.
Yeah.
It can get real dark real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like with X, people were giving this man all kind of accolades after he died. They're like, you know what? Now he's dead. I feel like he deserves this. Like he led this game called Kingdom Hearts, and the artist, like the people that made the music, she made a song and dedicated it to him, a Japanese woman that he had never met. He never been to Japan before. He said he wanted to go. She heard about him, listened to his music, read his story, learned that he loved the game, and she made like a 5-minute piano single just for him. It's dedicated to him. There's a story about it and everything. It's on Spotify right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's little things like that anybody could do for anybody else that we don't do until it's too late.
Yeah.
If you celebrate people while they're alive, we're going to have a lot more people living. That's how I feel about it. At least that's how I think about it.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just his influence he left. Like, it's a lot of people, like, if you don't live life with a purpose, you know what I'm saying, and you die and people don't say anything about you, well, what did you leave for people to say?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like even that, things went down the way it did, like, she did that because he had a great influence, you know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, like, I feel what you're saying. Like, I completely agree with that, too. Like, that is sad, like, when people pass away, when artists, they leave, like, it's like a magnifying glass now.
Mm-hmm.
Not like we found out, you know what I'm saying? Just like how you saying, like, oh, he was into the Japanese culture and all that. But because of what he did and the people he touched, like, dang, for real. But that is sad, though. That is sad. I would agree that is sad, but dang. I'll be X, man. I just hate that he was just so young.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And then, like, he didn't get a chance, you feel me, to really, like, go to Kanye, you know what I'm saying, length, you know what I'm saying, that he did. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. You make a good point. I mean, bouncing out that, I'm gonna end what I'm saying on this, but like, with that in mind, if you find a purpose and you live with it, you have way more of an impact on people, even everyday life. Because you just waking up, doing your stuff, and going back to sleep, you might not really affect anybody. But if you have a goal in mind and you work towards it, and you touch people along the way, then you making their lives better and your lives better all at once. And that's still Manga mentality.
That's still, I was gonna say it. I'm like, maybe he's gonna say it. Manga mentality.
Still,
yeah.
Still, but yeah, yeah. That's it's all a circle. And let me say this before we go any further. I think it's important that people be mindful of who it is they're embodying, real, a character, whoever, and also not to forget that they themselves are a person, right? Like, we all have our own lives. You know, we live together on this earth. We all have our own lives. And what you're doing when you're embodying somebody, so you might need their strength, or you might need their compassion or patience or whatever it is, you're just adding it on to yourself. You're not removing yourself and making room for that.
Facts.
You're just adding on to it so you can embody that better. You're like, okay, I feel better now. You know what? Luffy would do it, I'll do it. But don't be like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill a bunch of people.
You're not actually Luffy.
You're not actually Luffy.
He's not real.
You're not actually him. But he's supporting you through your actions. Make sure you're making the right ones. And you gotta be mindful. Don't lose yourself in it. Because a whole world of things can happen and go wrong if you lose yourself in it. That goes to anybody. Thor, Iron Man. You don't want to go out like Iron Man did. No, it's glorious. It was great to watch, but you don't want to get caught like that. You don't want to get caught like that.
Exactly.
So Halloween coming up.
Definitely. On Monday.
Yeah, so what you dressing up as? Like, who you channeling?
Oh, no. I don't celebrate Halloween.
Oh, no, for real?
I don't celebrate. Nope.
No, how about you? What you dressing up as?
I don't celebrate.
Dang, me either. I just thought you was about to channel somebody on Monday.
No, but
I thought I was going to see the Goku suit.
But why we talking about that? There is some wild costumes.
Bro, have y'all been seeing the memes that have been going around?
No,
Like with
what
no, well, y'all might have been looking at that. Y'all probably got that blocked too.
Wait, what?
But now, like the little, like it's like a costume, like meme that's been going around, and like they throwing like different like personalities on like the package of the costume. Y'all haven't missed it.
Wow.
No, I haven't. No, I guess he's right. I guess we do got a block. You're right.
Yeah.
I missed that.
No, everybody want to be a demon. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, for real, bro.
Dress up as Jesus.
Yeah.
Or God or somebody. Everybody want to be a demon, the devil, the Antichrist. Come on.
Yeah.
Do better. Be somebody good.
Right. Be different. Dare to be different.
It's a time and a place, man. Just channel, wherever you at. Just just be mindful, man. I just think ain't nobody thinking no more.
No.
Nobody's thinking no more.
Thoughts are not popular.
What?
Common sense isn't that common.
It's
So, man.
Okay.
so profound.
But really though, but seriously. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Manga Mentality Podcast. I hope that y'all came. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends and family. And I also want to thank my guest host today, Tucker. This man needs his flowers, his accolades. We got a song coming out soon. He really does on Snoop Dogg. He wasn't lying about that. That's the truth, by the way. Snoop Dogg really said what he said.
Shout out Snoop, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all tune in next time.
Hey, run it up by the morning. Only one still on it.